Nolan, it's me. Me and him. Uh-oh, double attack. Let's go. Reacting to Metatron, reacting to me. And now we're gonna get reacting to Metatron, reacting to me, reacting to Metatron. Okay, so my new camera is gonna be bottom right. Bro, could you imagine if he reacted to this? Not that he's gonna do it, but it's funny. If he reacted to this, we would end up with like 15 cameras, because I'm gonna keep going. Please.
So, I was scrolling through the comments, and as I so often do, I get some really obnoxious comments and some really kind comments. I come across a comment from a guy named Metatron, thinking, okay, somebody pretending to be Metatron.
Pretending.
And then it hit me. I clicked on it, and it turns out to be the Metatron, like the
that face.
guy with 1 million subscribers. This gentleman saw my video.
How the heck did that happen? I haven't got a clue.
About how I argued that in some situations, it's okay to have non-white people in traditionally white roles. And he made a good video in response.
Thank you. Appreciate
Some people have asked why he's so...
Hey, look at the... This is killing me. And I just stopped it there. Okay, wait. Okay. I was going to say, come on, look at that. I got a really good picture of you for the thumbnail. Am I right? Am I right? I always do it justice when I have to look for pictures and screenshots. I always do it justice.
So angry nowadays about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And I think he has a good reason.
Thank you.
I'm going to share that in a minute. It comes back to an old philosopher that really helped me understand the rot in liberalism.
Whoa. Wow, we're starting strong here, noble ones. Come on. Subscribe. What are you waiting for? We're building the shield against Nolan.
Before I go any further, Metatron, if you happen to see this, I understand that you recently had a son.
Is he too young for coffee?
Is he too young for coffee, is he?
Maybe a little bit.
Look at him.
Espresso? Macchiato?
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Nolan,
Appreciate it.
where are you going, Nolan? That's not the right direction, Nolan.
If you're out of the loop, the man has been relentlessly mocking and just prodding at Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey for weeks now.
Hey, noble ones, look at what I found.
Scratch that, guys. I'm top right. I guess I'm top right now.
Fellow hater of Nolan. Okay, I'm joking. Maybe. Roger Maxson, 15,000 subscribers, tells us black actors
Now 18,000.
in white roles, the Odyssey, a different take. Well, I'm curious to see what kind of take we've got, and without further ado.
I
Bro, I'm the king of further ado.
love the Iliad. This guy's really handsome, though.
Handsome man, let's go.
Yeah, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, and to some degrees, Dante.
Dante.
Ooh, Dante Alighieri, my man, La Divina Commedia.
Bro, my Italian is incredible. I'm covering myself.
Yeah, first bonus point for him.
Metatron, if you happen to see this, you're from Italia, so...
Sì, Italia, italiano. Sì, sì.
From where in Italia are you from?
Sicilia.
Beautiful country. These stories
Thank
are
you.
all connected, and it's interesting to me to see the nuanced connections, references to Greek mythological terms and places.
Bro, we're gonna get like the deepest reaction. How long is it? Ooh, have a seat, brother. Because he's gonna speak over himself, and then I'm gonna speak over him, speaking over himself, and then me, and then past me, future me. This is amazing.
In the Christian New Testament, like Peter's use of the word Tartarus, or in the book of Acts, St. Paul being faced with a woman possessed of a serpentine spirit, which is a reference to the cult of Apollo and the oracle of
He agreed with himself. I'm not the only one that happens to.
Delphi, suggesting that this oracle was actually essentially a slave. She had handlers, and she was possessed of a demon. But the demon knew who Paul was because he knew who Christ was. And Paul just casually got annoyed and cast the demon out, and then the woman became worthless to her handlers.
But could you imagine? Goodness gracious, Paul. Way to show off. Like literally when you get like maxed out on your levels to a point that a demon just
I agree with myself.
annoys you.
If you've watched this channel, you know I find the ancient world absolutely fascinating.
Fascinating.
Once again, tell me about it.
The
Tell me about
Iliad,
it.
I've got multiple translations. Fagel's translation is good.
Yep.
Is one of my favorite stories of all time. There are a few stories I could live in. That's one of them. But I also love the Odyssey. Here's a Latimore's translation. I've got Fagel's translation. Here's Fagel's. And here's a new translation by Stephen Mitchell. It's a little more accessible to modern audiences, but
Define modern audiences. Also, did you notice that there is one translation that is missing on the pile
Yeah, are you gonna address that? Are you gonna address that or not?
of books?
Gee, I wonder why.
all right, I do have the translation, but it is not my favorite translation. I think some people assume that all the more woke stuff in Nolan's
Right.
film came straight out of this translation.
Some of it 100%, but not all of it. Some of it, yes.
I don't think it did, but it's not my favorite translation by any stretch. Lattimore's translation is good. Fagel's translation is good.
Probably, yeah, Fagel would be my favorite. Probably when it comes to what sort of woke stuff comes from the Emily Wilson's translation would be her attitude. So maybe we're not necessarily going to look at the words because it's not like they're going to read it anyways. They didn't read anything. They just took it to say, we based it on this just because of the positioning they gave them socially. They didn't read shit. The only thing, though, is that she did, Emily Wilson, that is, say that she had a problem with the fact that they were white. We had white men, all these white men. She did say that. She hated it on an interview. And then she also said that she basically described Odysseus as someone who objectifies his wife. So, yeah, that did get into the movie now, didn't it?
Beautiful translation.
Thank you.
Wilson makes some really strange word choices. She dials back the language about some of the monstrous creatures in the Odyssey because she's trying to be more fair to them, it seems. She's got
The monsters.
Penelope with a thick hand. She's got some really weird word choices, but it is very readable and clear. Controversy over the movie.
Yeah.
Setting aside, thank you. Thank you for noticing Yoda. Christopher
course.
Nolan is one of my favorite filmmakers, living filmmakers. The Dark Knight trilogy, at least the first two.
This setup sounds to me, the reason why I haven't flipped the table yet, this setup sounds to me as, look, Christopher Nolan, I like him so much, Batman, but this is woke shit. That's what it sounds like, okay?
You take my favorite filmmaker, one of them,
Comment, please.
and one of my favorite stories, and you think I would just be ecstatic
Right.
about this movie. But like everyone else, I've got concerns.
Concerns for me would be the understatement of the century. I need professional help.
But I want to set aside the
I would say, this guy is great. I would say understatement of the millennia, the understatement of the last 2,800 years.
potentially questionable casting for Achilles.
Oh, Achilles.
I want to set aside the costume designs and talk about one thing that's been causing controversy.
Yeah, what's up?
The casting for Helen of Troy.
All right. This is it. True test of character, guys. What is he going to say?
I have a different take on this.
It is,
She is
it is a true test of character. Think about it. Sorry to interrupt myself, but it is a true test of character because look at what the people are. Either they're saying, all the Nolan's defenders, either they pretend it didn't happen. They don't even mention it. Oh, wow, they do a beautiful movie. They do this, that, the ship, the seat. They don't even say that. Or they do say it and they say it's good and it's just and it's the right thing. So who cares about the Greeks? Bigot. So that is why it's a true test of character. It doesn't necessarily mean that I want someone to tell me it's the one thing they hated the most about the movie. I don't need that. That would be me. But I don't need someone to say that. As long as they acknowledge it and then they recognize why it is concerning and disconcerting, particularly from a Greek perspective. It's really all. But of course, if they also say that it's nonsense, then I appreciate because we can agree. But it's not a requirement for me not to think that someone is a clown, if you know what I mean.
I've seen her in a movie before. I can't remember what it was. And I do remember being struck by thinking, this is a beautiful woman. But that's really not the controversy, is it? The controversy is twofold. One, this is supposed to be the most beautiful woman in the world. The woman whose beauty launched 1,000 ships. And
He laughed.
You did.
He laughed.
the woman whose beauty launched 1,000 ships.
That's a brother of mine. Bro, I recognize one when I see it.
So
Okay.
I do think
Please.
The internet is full of rage and anger, so I try to remain a gentleman.
Yes.
She is not the person that I would have chosen for Helen of Troy.
Yeah, she's not the person you would have got on a ship for, is she?
The face, the woman who launched 1,000 ships.
Thank you.
I think she's a beautiful woman,
Yes.
but Helen of Troy is a woman over whom men fought a world war.
Thank
I do
you.
question that casting choice.
Why did you cut? Why was there a jump cut? Why was there a jump cut?
Same, cut from the same cloth, I know it.
And two, let's state the obvious, and I'll be very candid here.
Please.
She's a black woman. Helen of Troy was not black.
Yeah.
Helen of...
Oh, okay, so, guys, that alone, we need to leave a good comment. We need to leave a comment and put a like to his video.
I repeat, again, let's do
Why
it.
you say? He's stating the obvious, what nobody else does. They're all cowards.
I gotta say, sometimes this gentleman gets a bad rap on the internet, but I gotta say, I've seen this guy be very gentlemanlike and kind and charitable. This is one of those cases. He had a debate with a woman called the Lady of the Library.
Oh yeah, the lady of the library. My enemies don't know what to do with that. They don't know what to do. They just make it up. They say, "Oh, look at this guy. He was trashing her." I'm like, "No, it wasn't. Like, you're literally making it up." And I'm not making this one up. Check Reddit. I mean, seriously, they don't even know. We had a very polite interaction, even though we belong to completely opposite ways of thinking, both politically, but this is not just about politics, it's about culture, it's about decency, it's about things that matter to us, literary works and history and preservation of, in fact, all sorts of aspects, all encapsulated into one single topic. But I was very respectful to her, and so was she, right? The only times that I act like a Denisovan is when people deserve it. She did not deserve it, so I didn't do it.
And she said, look, he was very gentlemanlike and charitable.
Yes.
Firm disagreement from this gentleman, but he treated her with respect.
Yeah,
Give the guy props. Give the guy credit.
Yeah, I like the costume because the skill of the actors and they pretend it's not a thing. Or they say...
He's right about this.
Right.
It's a too big of a trend where people will act as though they like something just to feel like they fit in with the cultural moment.
Yes.
Or they won't say anything. So I think if someone breaks the law and they're white or they're black or they're Hispanic or anything else, the nature of justice is to be fair.
Precisely. Treat everyone equally under the law. Good luck doing that in the UK currently, isn't it? And even not in the UK, but in general, look at what happened with the Carmelo Anthony situation. Like, nobody cares the guy was black and the kid that got assassinated was white. I care about the blade that stabbed the heart of a person who did not deserve it. And you're like, but why? Is there someone who would deserve it? Well, yeah, if it's self-defense, but that wasn't. There wasn't self-defense. The white kid didn't even have a weapon. So the reality is that the people that defend that kind of stuff, they do it on the matters of tribalism and race, which is a problem. Not to mention some of the filthy stuff that you've read about it, how like all white people deserve it. It's disgusting. And the reality is just a matter of decency. Treat everyone equal. If you break the law, as he says, well, you need to get, the consequences that are fit to the level of the crime. There shouldn't be any majority because someone belongs to one ethnicity or another. It's just the fact that you broke the law. And then no justification as well. But there's a lot of justification out there. There's a lot of justification, and it's racial, which makes it distasteful and just out of place. But the other thing that I do want to say is that on the law thing, look at the news. When the guy's white, it's spammed everywhere. But when the guy's not white, certain news outlets, they tell you a man, but they don't give you the information. And that's, we don't care. We don't treat groups, but we do want to know the truth.
But some people would be, they're too afraid to say anything if the person who commits the crime is black.
Precisely. Which then creates racism. It does. Not with me. I will never be racist ever. It's just against my very fiber. But I understand people who start saying racist things because they see the injustice and they can't stomach it. And so in order to counter certain type of people, they will start saying stuff just to, I don't know, I'm no psychologist here, but I do understand the rage.
Or if these pride parades where people will go overboard. I just made a video about men who expose themselves walking around naked with their penises out in front of children.
Disgusting. Yeah, completely inappropriate. It has nothing to do with gay rights, by the way. And what's insane is that the people that have decided to support that side of politics, that pushes pride all over the places, they will do stunning and brave. Own the chuds. No, it's not about own the chuds. What about the children? How about you do what you want to do in your privacy. I do what I want to do in my privacy. I don't do anything sexual in public, straight or no, and you don't do anything sexual in public, straight or no. Particularly when there are children involved. It's not like I'm asking you to live under a different law. I don't want to do any shit like that in public. I'm straight. It doesn't make a difference. But the people will not do it. The people will think that, are you saying you want to see gay people shot? That's what they're going to say. Just like they say, are you saying you don't want to see black people on screen? No, but Helen of Troy wasn't black. That still doesn't change the fact.
And millennial parents are all around cheering and applauding
True.
boomers and millennials.
True. Unbelievable. It's degenerates.
Have some self-respect.
Thank you.
Have some courage.
Yes.
Point out that these things are not right.
Precisely.
Just because you're trying to feel good about yourself and say, hey, I'm a good person, I support the LGBT movement, I support black people, whatever. The far left will eat you anyway.
Yep.
Stand for justice and truth.
Yes.
And I appreciate him saying this.
They like
Thank
it
you.
because they're afraid of being called racist.
Mutual feeling.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
She's a black woman.
Yes.
Helen of Troy was not black.
Was not
So let's
black.
cut to the chase. Some people will say that if you have an objection to this casting, you are a fascist, racist, Nazi, yada, 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 yada.
We know it.
There are some racists who have a problem with it. I get called that on at least a weekly basis.
Can you imagine? Like, I get it when people call me, because there are a lot of, it's still wrong and still inappropriate, but there are a lot of topics that I choose to cover that make people go nuts. Like, literally, the circles of hell, they are all protesting with the tridents and forks. That's the real forks. But fork pits. Is that what they're called? Fork pick? I don't even know. I haven't got a clue. Forconi, I'll say it in Italian. But they even call him clearly a decent guy, very respectful, very, like, excuse me?
This casting.
Of course.
But the majority of people who object to it are not really racist. Certainly not
Right.
fascist, and certainly not Nazis.
Yes.
Have you guys, if you don't believe me, listen to how the Greeks, the Hellenes,
There we
are
go.
reacting to this.
There we go.
So many of them
No H when you say Hellenes. No, and Elas, no H.
feel absolutely, they feel like they have been slighted.
Yes.
They are irate with Hollywood. They're irate with the movie because you added arbitrary diversity with everyone but Greeks. But if you want to call me racist over that, I politely suggest you're part of the problem.
100%. See what I mean? He's very polite and classy. Not me, really. Recently, I've been calling people vermins, so there's that, okay? But I'm going to blame my DNA for that. But regardless, the guy is very, okay. So that's to show how he is, guys. That's how it is. It's a matter of recognizing the truth.
The breakdown of dialogue in this country, we can't have serious conversations because accusations,
Buzzwords.
dismissal, well, you're just a Nazi. Stop it with that.
Thank you. Also because it's just a stupid tactic. And we know why you're doing it. You're doing it to undermine our arguments. And the only reason why you would choose to do that is because either you're so brainwashed, you just see us as enemies, as obstacles. That's one thing with the radical left. Or it's because you don't have a counter argument. You do not have a counter argument. You don't know. You're defeated already. And so you have to resort to calling us this, and that, and Nazi and racist and fascist. Half of these people can't even tell you what these words mean anymore. And that's what it is. It's cowardice, intellectual cowardice.
Sorry, I call him this guy. Roger, Mr. Maxon is spewing facts. facts, Nolan, the things you don't care about.
Can black people play roles traditionally played by white people because those roles or those characters traditionally are from white cultures?
Okay, so I'm going to give you my answer. Also, no need for this. It is white cultures. But let me just say it.
I am curious to see how he's going to counter that. Interesting, not because I want to argue, but I'm interested to see how he explains it, like why he would do this.
Here's my answer. You ready?
Yeah, so I want to hear the
Okay.
man's answer. When I do this,
Yes.
because I think that so many people are lumped together and called white and then dismissed.
Right.
But you're talking about Anglo-Saxons, Slavs, Germanic peoples, Celts, Greeks, the Hellenes, and these rich and ancient cultures
Italians.
are dismissed as white power, white privilege,
Right.
nonsense. I object to
It's going to
that.
be very deep.
Okay, so that's fine then if you put it like this. The only thing is, you see, I personally don't have a problem with people using white to put all these different cultures into a group, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing we do when we say black. In fact, it's even more so because there are more countries in Africa than there are in Europe, literally. You can Google that one if you want, but you could trust me and don't not waste time. Also, there are more languages. So if you're like, yeah, but how can you all be white if one speaks French, one speaks English, one speaks whatever, Italian, one speaks Spanish? Fine, there are more languages in Africa, yet you're still calling them all black. Not him, I'm saying in general, the way we utilize the term. And not to mention, then you also go into, by extension, to African American, British American, Canadian black, all these whatever. But even if you just want to say Africa, there is that. And then there is the fact that, scientifically speaking, black people are the ones that have the highest degree of phenotypic difference and variations within their own population clusters. And I know that this may sound strange, but it's only because often when people think of phenotype, they just think of skin, hair, eyes. But there is a lot more than that. And when you look like facial features and lots of different characteristics, all the way down to the genetic level, and there is more variation within the group that people just put and lump together into, we are black people, and that kind of stuff. So in reality is, yes, these are all constructs in the sense that they are categorizations that put together lots of different people. We do it with white, we do it with black. So that's why if anyone is free to object to it, be like, you know what, I don't want to say white, but I just want to say Italian, French, but then you should also say Nigerian, Congolese, Sudanese. It is the exact same thing, in fact, up a notch when they do it with black people. And but I don't really see people question it. And the only reason why sometimes I prefer to still use the word white is because at the end of the day, as you yourself said, Roger, I'm so going to agree with this because it means agreeing with you, you are an inheritor of Western civilization. So Western civilization is what the one thing that puts us all together as a cultural connection, if you will. And apart from that, even though we speak different languages, in fact, America is a great example of that. How lots of different people, Italians, Irish, they all become Americans, which is great. And then the other thing is, as I say, I prefer to still use the term white because there are people that now say white people don't exist. I have a dedicated video. If you haven't watched it, I strongly suggest it's literally called like that. White people don't exist. And I clearly debunked it, but one of the ways I did it is to say, well, you can't say white people don't exist on the basis of diversity and, in fact, phenotypic and cultural, linguistic diversity within these groups that we categorize as white, but then keep using the term black. But it's always double standards, and so that's that.
No. Thank you. But let's see his alternative one. But this is mine. And of course, the other way around too.
Right.
The other way around too. It's traditional black. You already know.
Meaning you don't race swap. If the original culture is black, use black actors. Do not use whites or Asians and whatnot.
Don't play it with a white. Fine. Okay.
Is that ever acceptable? Man, this guy's handsome. I thought a lot about this. My short understanding.
I saw that you did a haircut. Does that make you more handsome? It's a question because I don't do those, you know. I mean, recently he did another. I don't do haircuts. Last time was 1947.
Is in some situations, yes, it's acceptable. Because I think the factors at play here are good faith, maybe not with this movie, but hypothetically. And I hope.
Very hypothetically. I'm letting him speak, okay? And then I'll tell you what I think, right? But this is a massive hypothetic here.
Lord of the Rings level of hypothetic.
This movie, good faith. And a hermeneutic of mutual celebration and participation rather than competition.
Okay, so basically it's fantasy. No, I appreciate that. No, I mean, I'm not being disrespectful. Again, I still really like this guy. I think we've got a kind of a very similar mentality. But I want to say this. I appreciate your hypothetical. So yeah, if you got the way I understand it, I'm sure you'll go deeper. If you it's fine in very certain cases to race swap an original white character with a black actor if they do it in a way that it's in good faith, with celebration and respect.
So basically what Lupita Nyong'o didn't do.
Am I right? Is that what you're saying?
He has steel-manned my position. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Fantastic.
I think I know what he's going to say, but let's listen. I think there are examples of this when it was done, I think, properly. Denzel Washington playing Macbeth, who's a Scottish character. I didn't hate it. There was no power struggle between whites and blacks and the people in the bottom,
different era,
the oppressed group trying to overthrow the white group at the top, and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
I think it was done in the sense that I am the inheritor of Western civilization, so is Denzel Washington.
Right.
He's as an American, he's as American as I am.
100%.
And for him to play that role was saying, hey, let's share our mutual, the tradition that we've inherited. Let's celebrate it together in good faith. That's the way to do it. But there is a problem that I think this gentleman is going to wisely bring up.
Well, Hollywood, never gonna happen in a million years. Like this is we might as well. This is the Lord of the Rings level of fantasy, my friend. Like this is really high fantasy. It's not low fantasy. This is high fantasy. Like I get it. Okay, I understand that. I would still disagree, by the way, because I still think no race swapping. That's my take. But I can respect a person with a different position. Like he might say, no, for me, in very certain situation, as long as it's done with respect, I'm fine with it. That's his position. I disagree, but I would be okay with it as long as it's logically consistent. So, would you also be okay if it's a historical black character that is being race swapped with a white actor, but it's done with respect and good faith? The answer has to be yes. For me to...
The answer is yes.
Excellent, because if it wasn't, then we're going to go back to the loops that I always have. In fact, the aforementioned disagreements and discussion that I had with Lady of the Library, lovely lady for sure, but that was one of her main problems that I kept hammering down even on my second video, the fact that she did not have this consistency, applied the rules only for white people, but it was fine when it was black people. It was constantly double standards and two tiers, and then having to figure out ways to justify it. Meaning, for instance, when she was like, but no, it's fine if you race swap and put black people on screen, even though it's white people in their history, because it might draw in black youth and black people in general that otherwise wouldn't want to watch it. Really. So they don't want to watch it because they hate whites, but then as long as you get rid of those, then we'll watch it. Flip it around. Try to do that. Be like, yeah, we've got beautiful African history, but those whites, they don't want to have anything to do with it. So put a couple of white people in it. Now they're going to watch. You're never going to be okay with that. So it's always the fact you have to be able to consistently apply the same metrics and measures to all groups in order for it to be morally acceptable. And he's doing it. Great.
Because the only way for people to coexist in Western civilization is to drop this power struggle nonsense.
100%.
And be the shared inheritors of the Western tradition. Mm-hmm. So if there is a traditionally
like they assimilate
black story, right?
Yeah.
And you have black and white actors in those roles. Say it's a mythology. Okay. I think that's probably the best place for this to take place. If it's something sort of mythological. Mm-hmm. Because there's not a competition between black and white. It's participation in.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way to put it. In theater, I can see that happen. In movies, and even worse, in documentaries and historical movies, I would still prefer to tell it how it was, because at least it becomes educational. And then we can find another way to celebrate each other's stories. For instance, what you could do is, as if Hollywood has got budget, how about instead of just continuously race-swapping white stories, why don't you tell us some original non-white stories? And then, together with the ever-loved white stories, and then we get a bit of this, bit of that, and that's great. I think that would be the way to do it, at least particularly with documentaries. Netflix slapped the word documentary over the Cleopatra thing, which, by the way, I did watch, and it wasn't just Cleopatra that they turned black. They turned the entire family black. The Ptolemaic family, some of the most inbred people in the history of Europe. It happens again later on with other aristocratic dynasties, but at that time they didn't want to fuck with it. Never mind, breeding or reproducing with people who didn't look like them. Yeah, exactly like them, like family. So I mean, to keep it pure, and then now here they're all black instead. Come on.
The problem with Hollywood and with a lot of Western academics, postmodernists and modernists,
yes.
is that they see this in terms of almost a Marxist power struggle.
100%. You can remove the almost.
And so the white man has to be taken down.
Yes.
And that's basically all white peoples. And all these people along the margins have to be put in their place. Mm-hmm. So they'll rip white actors out of white roles, and they'll put in, black people or Latinos or whatever. But it's done in bad faith.
True.
Have you seen the DEI checklist that these people have at Hollywood? You have to have so many gay roles, so many trans actors, so many black people, so many... It's arbitrary corporate nonsense.
Not to mention, it's not just corporate, it is, but it happens in academia. Oh, this role, you need to be two-spirited, non-binary, or you don't get the position. So meritocracy goes to shit. It's meritocracy which has built this great country, by the way, among other things. And this is one of the things we lost in Europe. Like where I'm from, in Italy, all of the, particularly in the south, mafia. Imagine an hypothetical company, and half the higher ups have the same surname. This happens as well in a lot of situations, and Italy has this problem, nepotism and all of that kind of stuff. But America, I love that it used to be built on meritocracy before DEI. When people say that DEI means didn't earn it, they're right. It is correct. The only correct thing to do, because of course, if you go back to the 1940s, early 1950s, you could have like a very skilled white man and a very skilled black man. But the white guy is less skilled than the black man, but the white guy gets the job because nobody wants to work with the black man. That's wrong. We have overcome that. But you don't need to do the same thing in reverse. That is, two wrongs don't make a right. And which is exactly what we're doing now. You're going to have a white guy super perfect for the job. You're going to get an underqualified person just because they are gay? Really? So they get the advantage because they're not straight. Like, it's ridiculous. But that's what's happening. Now, the truth is, look at the skill and hire based on merit only, without any differentiation, not only for race, it's unbelievable, but I gotta say it, but also based on who they go to bed with. That's in Canada, by the way, even more so. It's insane.
Corporations were convinced that in order to make money, they have to appeal to modern audiences, and they have to basically buy this nonsensical, pseudo-Marxist model of society and culture.
Right.
It's toxic, it's a cancer.
It is toxic, it is a cancer. I don't think they do it because I'd like to have an online, well, not on, it can be offline, so then we get to edit a little bit. But we should have this conversation, by the way, because the reaction is great, but I think it would be great to have a conversation with you. You know why I don't think it's about making money? Because the reality is that look at the trailer, 800,000 dislikes versus 70,000 likes. It is a loud minority that appreciates all of the they, them, they, the this and that, and all that nonsense. So the reality is that I don't think they're doing it because they think they're going to make money through it. There have been several situations where they didn't. Look at Supergirl. I think they do it because they want to push the message and indoctrinate. That's why they're doing it. And in conjunction with the way they're trying to push certain ideas to the youth in school with certain teachers and then in university, it's all part of the indoctrination. It is propaganda, and Hollywood is part of the propaganda machine. So they are fine losing money to push a message.
Forced arbitrary diversity done in bad faith.
Yes.
The elite academic classes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because they have been convinced of this hermeneutic of race struggle, class struggle,
Marxism.
where they see... He gets it.
Yeah.
Look it up. Look up, I think it's called the Four Olds in China. When the Marxists were taken over, they... Just look it up. Also, Marxism failed economically. People get on my case about that. I'm not wrong. And so if you look up... I can prove this. I'll make a video one day about it. But
fantastic.
Marxism was repackaged essentially as a cultural model. So they ditched some of the economics of it, but they took this idea of power struggle between the classes, the oppressor and oppressed, and they apply it. Some of these people apply it to marriages, to parent and children relationships, to race, to culture. It's like you take this one mechanism and you try to explain all of reality with it.
True.
It's stupid and it's cancerous. It means you can never have a coherent culture because whatever rises to the top must be pulled down because they only got to the top by oppression.
That includes, by the way, the Bolsheviks. They did that. Stalin, yeah, he rose to the top through oppression, all right?
There's oppression in history. There is power struggle in history, but to read the Odyssey in this way is to read it with a wrong lens. To read the Bible through a primarily class struggle lens is to blind yourself to what the text is saying.
Yes.
You just ripped all the color out of the world. You just drained the life's blood out of these texts. Every social phenomenon.
Very true. Exceptionally put.
In terms of
well.
oppressor and oppressed.
I mean, he's based, guys. This guy's based. He's right. That's right.
Of struggle.
Yeah.
Traditionally masculine male or traditionally feminine female.
Ooh, that's the Antichrist for the elites in Hollywood. That's like holy water sprinkled on that devil himself.
Well, then we got to take you down a few pegs and put a transgender person, a homosexual person, a Puerto Rican person, whatever they see, whatever class they see as in the margins, and bring them towards the center, as Derrida would say.
That's correct. It's exactly how they feel, which is why it's not in good faith, which is why, and there's no celebration. In fact, there's deletion. of what is perceived, everything he said precisely, which is why I will fight it until the end of days.
And so it almost is never the case. The same people who applaud a black woman portraying Helen of Troy, they often would criticize, and I've seen them do it, when a white male plays a Jewish role or any other race.
That is so true, exactly. It's the lack of equality. It is the exact lack of equality of treatment which any decent person would expect.
There you go.
No, they don't, but then they...
Yeah, it only goes one way, and that's not justice. That's a power struggle aimed against the whole of society. Anything traditional. Yeah, and then they also pat themselves on the back for as though they're being righteous, or they're better than you, or they're morally superior, which in many cases, no.
Majority.
It's diabolical. He's explaining it perfectly, though. We need to give it to him. This is really good. Really well-made video so far.
And that's what people sometimes on the right would point out.
That's me.
It never goes the other way, does it? You can't have Muhammad Ali played by a Korean man.
Or dare I say a white man, even worse. There are degrees to this.
He's not wrong. There are literally degrees. The hierarchy of privilege, which is why you see regular, is that even the right word? You see homosexual men from the 90s. You're talking about men who were in monogamous relationships with a man, right? That's why you have Sam Smith, I think it was, had to come out as gender queer, whatever, because that's too high on the privilege. They're too accepted. They're too higher on the privilege hierarchy, on the ladder now. So they have to identify as something else.
Yeah,
it's cancer. You can never have a coherent, stable culture.
I love it that he calls it cancer, because it absolutely is a cancer of the mind, and the spirit. But one thing I'd want to say is that you also see it when you've got these blue head with a, what is it called, not nose ring, septum ring, feminist women, and they white, of course, and they tell you, I'm privileged, but I'm not a man, meaning that's even more privileged. Unless you're trans, then you're fine. So it's, there are degrees to it.
Because whatever's down here that gets up here, they're going to tear it down. It's cultural suicide.
You take the point. Right.
All right. My take is slightly different.
Okay, let's see.
Yes, when people convinced of the extremities, I'd say, of critical race theory, of Marxism, of this general narrative oppressor-oppressed class, seeing all phenomena as a class struggle. Yes, it's often done in bad faith. It's often done to rage bait, knowing full well that they're going to get engagement. It's done to replace or to stick it in the eye of anyone who doesn't fit in with their ideology.
Man, facts.
But I don't think it has to be like that. The Brits, including the Welsh, or even to some degree the Italians, the Spanish, the Irish, the Americans, anybody in Western civilization are seen as the inheritors of Greco-Roman society. Totally. So me, I'm a mutt. I'm part Irish, part Native American Indian, like many people.
Awesome.
I've got a lot of stuff going on, but I am the inheritor of Western civilization.
100%.
It's fragmenting, it's crumbling, but we are the inheritors of a civilization, cultural heritage. So I'm not Greek, but I love the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yeah.
I think that I can participate in these things.
100%.
Some people came here and they immigrated from different parts of the world, and they did it legitimately. What I think would be the best thing to do, I think that those people should embrace Western culture.
100%. Okay, this guy's based. We're going to tell him. We're going to tell him in the comments. Metatron says you're based. Go tell him. I've emigrated 3 times, multiple times in my life, but mostly 3 times. I lived in 3 different continents. I lived in Europe, I lived in Asia, and now I live in America. Every single time.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I have done it legally, with respect towards the people and the culture that I was being welcomed in.
Respect towards the people and the culture.
Okay? I spoke the language every
And the laws.
single time. I've learned it, put in the work as a form of respect. I respect the laws of the country. I adapt my behavior to follow that of the peoples whose land I am now inhabiting, thanks to their acceptance towards me, of me. So I am assimilating here. I mean, I'm becoming a citizen this month as American citizens, as I said many times.
Yeah, I passed the citizenship test. Now I'm just waiting for the ceremony thing.
Seriously, dude, congratulations.
Thank you.
And welcome. That's awesome.
Does that mean that I have to delete my personal heritage as an Italian? No. No, I bring it here, but I offer it as a gift to those who are interested. Meaning, if you ask me, hey, can we speak to me in Italian? I like it. I'll speak a few sentences. If you tell me, can you teach me something in Italian? I'll do it. But otherwise, out of respect, I'll only speak English in this country when there are Americans who don't speak my language in the same room as a form of respect. And it's the same thing with my culture, with my habits, with my food. I bring them as gifts.
Dude, Italian food is good. I want to point this out. Once I walked into a place in Virginia.
Okay.
And actually twice. And once it was a big store in a historic town in which Civil War battles were fought.
Wow.
And I walked into the big store and I was the minority, not because there were Black Americans there, but because there were so many different kinds of people from so many different places and so many different languages being said. Now, in a sense, it's not inherently a bad thing, but the idea of America was e pluribus unum, out of many one, but now we're becoming out of one many. By design, we're being divided, not unified.
True.
So I walked into a store, it was a video game store, and I found an old Nintendo 64 game.
I've got a Nintendo 64 right there, ready to go, hooked up to a CRT. That's me.
And this dude was playing it, and like he lost the level, and he kind of looked at me and smiled. And it could have been like this moment of shared, a shared cultural moment. Hey, we both know this game. You played it. I get the level. That one's hard. He didn't speak a lick of English.
There you go.
And he was here illegally. And I didn't hate him. There's nothing to hate about it. But something just short of lament for the fact that we couldn't communicate and have this shared, just a small little moment. It's harder to do that when you don't speak the same language.
It's absolutely true. I do think there is something to hate about it, and it's the concept of entering illegally. And the reason why I hate that is because I don't know if I need to hate you as well. What do I mean by that? I know this sounds kind of harsh, but I'll explain it. When someone enters legally, I know that because I've been through the process with a lawyer. They do background checks, among other things. They knew everything about me. They knew that I served in the Italian Navy when I was 18. They knew the languages I spoke. They knew the peoples. They asked me about groups. They did a lot of background check. And they knew I was clean. No problems. One of the questions they asked me if I had any association with the Communist Party. I thought it was kind of funny to ask me, out of all people. But again, I get it. They ask everyone. So I was like, oh no, absolutely not. But whatever. Here's the thing, though. When someone enters illegally, you could be a wonderful person, or you could be a scumbag, rapist, terrorist who is running away because he has already raped and unalived like 50 people. What do I know? There's no way for me to know. So in order to defend the good people, the children, the women, the weak in this country, everyone needs to go through that level of screening. And then, look at social media posts. What do they say? Because if someone chanting death to America, I'd rather they didn't come here, if you know what I mean. So this is why I hate illegal immigration. It's not because I hate all those people that enter illegally. It's not because I think that all of them are, rapists and terrorists, but potentially every single one of them could be. And so you have to screen, you have to look. So if you enter illegally, you need to get out. It's just that simple, so that you can return. Depending, but this time do it right. It's really that simple. It's a matter of defending. It's a matter of protecting the good citizen of this country.
I do wonder if that's by design. Now, some countries naturally and organically have more than one language spoken there. It's
Switzerland,
normal. Yeah. If you think we're divided now, though, wait till there's not just one major language or two major languages, but about 18.
It's happening in what is it, the state where they're having all those problems with you can tell I'm a little sleep deprived tonight. Somalians. I mean, I saw officials speaking the Somalian language, and like Americans don't have a clue what these officials are saying. It's insane.
And neighbors can't communicate with neighbors.
Yeah.
Politics, it's harder to communicate over local politics.
Mm-hmm.
You will have more isolation and more fragmentation And I wonder if that's by design.
Well, the funny thing is that when I have conversations with people of the left persuasion, which, as I always say, as long as you're not a scumbag that laughs at Charlie Kirk's death, if you are, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't care. You shot the guy who was willing to talk to the likes of you and your ilk. I'm not that guy. But as long as you're decent, even if we have different politics and ideas and social aspects in economics, we can sit down, talk, and have a pizza, drink a coffee. It's not a problem. It's just a matter of decency. Very low bar, in fact. Don't laugh at people's death. But here's the thing. And even if you have my own politics, by the way, and you laugh at people's death, I don't want to have anything to do with you. So this is just how it is. Just decency. And but here is the thing. When I try to speak with some people who are left-wing, I'm starting to think we don't speak the same language, particularly when I hear stuff such as individual who menstruate and non-gestating parent, equity-deserving groups. I'm like, what are you on about? I don't even understand you, and I speak the language. At this point, it's easier to understand Japanese or Mandarin for me.
But I will rejoice in those things that instead kind of make us all Americans. Let's make it this way. Now, clearly, my son is going to be more American than me because he was born here. But I can participate because I'm willing to assimilate and respect. This is how it works. And I agree with him. Yeah, people are willing to do this, assimilate it, and actually contribute. Great. If they hate us, kick them out.
I think they should be allowed to embrace Western culture.
We have to consider this, Roger. I think you're a very, of course, you're clearly very intelligent, very cultured, educated person, but I can tell this guy's a good guy. Like, you can tell.
It's funny because he didn't deactivate one of the microphones during the recording, so he gave me the angelic voice now.
Given. How can I tell? Well, by the things he's saying. You can tell this guy hasn't got a speck of racism in him. He hasn't got a speck of discrimination in him, the real ones. And you can tell that the guy, I mean, we probably agree on a lot of things. I can tell.
If we could get more dialogue like this on the internet instead of just hating everything all the time,
Yes.
Things would be a lot better.
100%.
Thank you for the kind words, sir. Reciprocated. Thank you for your kindness and your charity. We need more of that on the internet.
But I can also see that the way he expresses himself, the way the things he's saying, the way he's like welcoming, you can tell this guy is welcoming. It's not enough though. I can see it. Do you think the radical left-wing nutjobs that run that satanic cult that is Hollywood see something like this and think, oh, that's quite a moderate take? Not a chance. You're still a Nazi fascist in their head.
Yes.
Like anything you said, that Lupita Nyong'o is a beautiful woman, that you loved Denzel Washington, they don't care. Doesn't matter. To the cultists, means nothing. You're still a fascist. Wasted breath. I mean, not on me. Okay, not on me. I can see your intent. I disagree. I think still no race swapping. Why? Because we don't inhabit this beautiful version of the world that you are now presenting. It's nice, but it's utopic. We don't live there. And so in this world where we live, there is nothing.
I mispronounced utopic.
Would I take your version of race swapping to the one they do? Oh my gosh, a million times. I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, have fun. But that's not the world we inhabit, and because we have to counter the race swap, then the only way to counter it is not with moderation, but it's with the complete and utter rejection. That's my opinion.
The only case where I actually have an exception to that is with cosplayers, because I think it'll let the kids have fun. Also because personally I've never seen cosplayers trying to push the politics and the power struggle, correct me if I'm wrong. So like if I see a black person and they are cosplaying a kid, a black kid, a girl, a guy, and they're cosplaying an anime character who normally isn't black, I don't go there and say stop the race swapping, because I mean we've been doing it, like the white guys have been cosplaying as Japanese like forever. Nobody has a problem with it. It's just kids having fun. I don't have a problem with that 100%. It's the only situation. I do have a problem with even mythology. I have a problem with comics. I don't want to see Blade becoming white, and I don't want to see whatever it is pick a white one, and I don't want him to become black. But with cosplay, I just have fun. It's my exception.
I respect his, I respect yours, and I think yours is more beautiful in a subtle way. But I don't think it's effective. I don't think it's doable in this world that we inhabit with these kind of people that hate.
His point is well taken. I get called a Nazi all the time. I'm not a Nazi. I actively encourage people to not be Nazis. There are people who are sympathizing with that movement more and more. Don't do it. There's better options out there.
Yes.
I know I can never talk the cultists out of this. They're in a cult. The people who are just blind ideologues, who are ruining their own lives and are unhappy, and this has given them some kind of religious zeal and purpose.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't talk them out of it. But there are people who aren't aware of how bad it is.
True.
And they think they're just two bad options. And I'm saying, no, there's better, more nuanced ways to think through this. But fighting against Marxism, absolutely, 100%. There's no nuance there. Why is the man so angry? I think it's very simple. This is a man named Edmund Burke.
Okay.
He's an old British philosopher who's conservative in the proper sense. Wasn't a Republican, wasn't a neocon, I don't think he was an economic liberal off the top of my head. By the way, when we say conservative in America and refer to the GOP, they are economically liberal. I'm not a big fan of any of that, to be honest
Classical liberalism, yeah.
with you.
Maybe.
Edmund Burke realized something. What went right in the American Revolution that went wrong in the French Revolution? There's a philosopher named Roger Scruton. I highly recommend you check out his work.
Okay.
The late, great Sir Roger Scruton, who's a British conservative philosopher. And here's the thing. Not everything needs to be conserved, but there are things that should be and need to be conserved at
100%.
cost.
Yes.
It may cost you something, conserve them anyway, because once we lose them, you can't get them back. Why this gentleman is so angry about Nolan, it's kind of funny. I mean, if you watch his videos, he's all, Nolan. Sorry, I can't do it very well. He's angry
Nolan.
because look at the picture of him holding his son.
Yes.
Something I think Thomas Paine got wrong is a big thing. They almost had this assumption that there's no deep connection and responsibility from previous generations to ours, or from our generation to the future. If you want to just reinvent your government every 7 years, do so. That's foolish. Edmund Burke realized that there is a responsibility. We can't invent Western civilization on our own. If it was Thanos out of existence, our living generation could not recreate the Odyssey, the Iliad, the languages, the deep cultural roots, the architecture, the ideas of common law and dignity and
Yeah, it's experiential knowledge over millennia.
human right and God and religion. All the things that we just take, the English language that we just take for granted, it wouldn't be invented in a lifetime, or really probably ever again. And if it would take several thousand years if God was merciful to us. I don't care if you're a Marxist, you depend upon the people that came before you.
Yep.
If you want to just look at all of it and dismiss it as a class struggle of evil bigots, you're a fool. But future generations depend upon us.
Absolutely. We are, that's one of the reasons why. And it all really clicked with me. I've always doubled down a little bit on culture war topics, but it all really clicked with me when Charlie Kirk died and I saw the reaction to it. And then I understood what kind of monsters that we've got to deal with. And at that point I understood I don't want my son to grow up in a place where if he gets stabbed, it's okay because he's white. I'm not okay with that. And so we need to try to recreate a world where there is decency as the majority with some insane people. But insanity is multiplying because evil is a disease that is contagious and we have an outbreak of evil. We saw it, hundreds of thousands of likes into those TikToks that were laughing at Charlie Kirk's death. It's not normal, and it's because of what's happening in school and the kind of stuff that they've been taught. Hate themselves, hate white people, hate. And that cannot continue because we're going to have a generation of psychopaths and sociopaths. And it's going to be in the millions.
And I think that's why this man is so zealous in defending the cultural tradition that we've inherited.
True.
Because he has a vested interest in it.
That's it.
People who don't just have kids and leave them to their own devices, but I mean mothers and fathers who actually have children. They care about the future because their children are going to live in that world.
Yes.
They want to hand them the good things that we've inherited. Why should one generation be the richest generation in the world and bankrupt the next? This man is fighting those who want to bankrupt the next. And I'm with him on that because our culture is worth it. The people coming after us are worth it. No matter how bad things get, I hope you know your life matters. So take care of yourself. As always, thanks for watching. God bless.
Fantastic video. He gets it. Just like I put it on the title. He gets it. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Roger. Really much appreciate. We should have a discussion one of these days if you're available. Thank you for your time. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.